Prior to his 2022 promotion to creative leader for the main roster, Triple H supervised WWE's NXT developmental brand for 10 years. Vince Russo, a writer for TNA, WCW, and World Wrestling Entertainment in the past, recently offered some explanation as to why James Storm never had the chance to perform on a full-time basis. In the 2000s, Storm became famous in TNA. The 47-year-old seemed to be in final negotiations with WWE after his victories over Adam Rose and Danny Burch on NXT in late 2015. Interestingly, however, he ended up going back to TNA. Former TNA World Heavyweight Champion C3 and Russo were guests on Dr. Chris Featherstone's The Wrestling Outlaws program on Sportskeeda Wrestling. Apparently, Storm's WWE discussions fell through because of an issue with Triple H, according to the seasoned writer. In TNA, Storm and Bobby Roode were teammates on the Beer Money Tag Team. Roode has been with WWE since 2016, but many think he didn't have enough time on the main roster. Get the inside scoop on EC3's encounter with Hugh Jackman before Raw by watching the video up above. Although the majority of NXT wrestlers are relative newcomers, James Storm had been working as a professional for over 20 years prior to his WWE debut. Dr. Chris Featherstone claims that Storm's decision to re-sign with TNA rather than WWE was motivated by financial considerations. Among Storm's many accomplishments are 7 tag team belts from TNA and 7 from the NWA. A former TNA World Heavyweight Champion, he is indeed. When it comes to professional wrestling, speculations of top performers' careers being impacted by politics, personality disputes, and behind-the-scenes turmoil are prevalent. Word got out recently by wrestling veteran and ex-WWE writer Vince Russo, who shocked everyone in the industry. A famous wrestler, who everyone thought would be perfect for WWE, really rejected an offer from the organization because of a private feud with Triple H. The decision to turn down the chance to work with WWE, the biggest and most successful wrestling business in the world, has left fans and insiders alike wondering what happened behind the scenes. The conflict between the wrestler and Triple H becomes key to comprehending WWE's eventual rejection as we dissect Vince Russo's exclusive remarks and go further into the specifics. One of the most divisive figures in professional wrestling, Vince Russo is notoriously candid about his thoughts and feelings on the industry. Russo has seen it all and has significant ties to the wrestling business, thanks to his career spanning WWE, WCW, and TNA, Impact Wrestling. A famous wrestler turned down a WWE contract, according to Russo's podcast, because of tensions between the wrestler and Triple H, a WWE executive and icon. The wrestler in issue had reportedly been in talks with WWE for a while and had been on their radar, according to Russo. Many fans were ecstatic about the prospect of this wrestler signing with WWE, thinking they would be a great match for the organization because to their personality, skills in the ring, and existing fan base. But apparently, everything fell through, and the wrestler decided to quit WWE for good. But for what reason? According to Russo, Triple H was the main cause. One of WWE's most influential individuals, Triple H, actual name Paul Levesque, has been for quite some time. With his 14 world championships under his belt and his position as chief content officer at WWE, Triple H is a powerful force behind the scenes who shapes the company's vision and helps bring in new talent. There are those who hold Triple H in low regard, despite the fact that he is widely acknowledged for reviving WWE's developing system by establishing NXT and nurturing future superstars. Russo claims that the wrestler has personal grudges against Triple H dating back to their earlier encounters. This had nothing to do with control over the creative process or money, Russo said. Respect, or rather, the absence thereof, was the deciding factor. When the chance to join WWE presented itself, This wrestler couldn't turn a blind eye to the fact that Triple H had mistreated them in the past. While Vince Russo refrained from naming the wrestler by name, he did provide some hints on the character of the wrestler's connection to Triple H. Several years ago, when the wrestler was initially becoming famous on the independent circuit, the two had apparently crossed paths, according to Russo. Reportedly, Triple H made many remarks that the wrestler found demeaning and dismissive at that time, which stuck with him. The issue wasn't just about what happened in the past, but how Triple H has historically treated talent he doesn't see as WWE guys, stated Russo. Some wrestlers think that Triple H doesn't hold them to the same standards if they didn't rise through the ranks of WWE or if they became famous outside of the company. It was just that the conviction that they would never be acknowledged for their merit that this wrestler felt. Entering WWE as an outsider or second-class talent could be a tough pill to take for a wrestler who has a big independent fan base. A major factor in this choice, according to Russo, was ego. It's obvious that both Triple H and this guy have egos. Finding common ground becomes almost difficult when two colossal egos clash. This is what happened. The wrestler believed that under Triple H's leadership, they would never get fair treatment. Because of the enormous opportunities for stardom, money, and fame that WWE has always provided, it has long been considered by wrestlers to be the pinnacle of professional wrestling. Joining WWE is the dream come true for a lot of people. Wrestlers used to have it bad, but things have changed thanks to the proliferation of independent organizations like Impact Wrestling, NJPW, and All Elite Wrestling. Workers are now allowed to pick and choose which big promotions to work with, since WWE is no longer the only feasible option. In this instance, the wrestler opted to pursue other chances, as per Russo's account, maybe believing that their worth would be more appreciated in other places. Wrestlers like this one, who have found success outside of Vince McMahon's empire, value autonomy and respect from their employers more than anything else. This is evident in their choice to leave WWE. Triple H is someone who divides opinion, Russo went on to say. While he has been an asset to the organization, some wrestlers believe he lacks the openness they would want from him. For an artist whose reputation rests on independent release, it might be a huge warning sign. From the days of WWE's near monopoly to the present, the wrestling environment has changed drastically. There is less of an obligation for gifted wrestlers to join WWE in order to reach the mainstream, now that they have alternatives, especially thanks to AEW's success. Outside of WWE, wrestlers may now demand top cash and have more agency to reject arrangements that don't match their beliefs and goals. The shifting power dynamics in the business are highlighted by this wrestler's decision to leave WWE. The days of wrestlers putting aside artistic differences or interpersonal disputes in order to sign with WWE are past. Nowadays, WWE stars are less interested in the worldwide stage and more concerned with their personal satisfaction, creative autonomy, and professional respect.